We're gonna start at the disclaimer part. Please, for the love of God, do not take everything I say or do as your only advice or only opinion. I don't want it to be oh, don't do this or else you will run into this. There's always another situation where that isn't the case. If you're new to the podcast, make sure to like the video, subscribe it, and to support me in the podcast and the YouTube channel, make sure to like. That goes into the YouTube algorithm and just really supports it. But for today, it's going to be a little bit more serious. Just because before you get into that kind of mess, into that kind of situation, I wanted to ask the question of why? Why the fuck do you want a girlfriend or boyfriend? Why do you want it? Like, that's the big question. That's today's podcast. Really, that's what we're gonna talk about. The why to it. Why do you want it? So, please help me introduce and welcome my good friend, my guest of today's podcast, Rap God himself, fucking knows how to rap, knows how to do it, all the way down in Florida, making the money moves. My good old medical friend that I met in fucking freshman year at UWT, I want to say pre-cal, Raul Morali. This man is a god. How are we doing today, Raul?
Hey.
I'm doing good, brother. How about you?
Oh, I'm just hanging in there.
I feel it, man. I feel it. Living day by day.
Yo, how are the parties down in Florida though right now?
Right now, due to COVID and stuff, I mean, like, it's kind of Mando. Like, all the different parties that I've seen is like you have to have your vaccine or at least like wear a mask. But before COVID, I mean,
It
it
was
was
a
lit.
shit
We
show,
had
wasn't it?
Oh, bro, it was crazy. We had a party once that like a couple of Orlando rappers pulled up to, and
Oh shit.
they performed, but we got shut down by the cops. I think what
Ugh.
an hour into it, like one house packed in with 400 plus people.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it that was before COVID. It's like now it's
God
everything.
damn.
Yeah, but now it's like tailgate season, football season. So everyone down here
Right.
is like
Right.
whether you're a Gator fan or like the Knights, like UCF, you're going out for tailgate.
Well,
Yeah.
let's get into the topic that I want to try and delve deeper into. Why do you think people should understand the why to the relationship, or why should they consider this besides the reproduction aspect and the um, sensual aspect of the relationship?
I think it's even bigger than that now. Like now you're talking about that, right? Every video we look at is saying like it's showing you how. But one thing I noticed because you brought
Mhm.
it up in a bit, since we were kids, right? Every fairy tale we read at school, every movie we watched, even
Yeah.
Shrek, they always talk about one thing: the happily ever after, right? Subconsciously, deep down in our head, we think about that every time we fantasize. We don't fantasize about the deed or whatever. No, we fantasize about what the future holds. We fantasize about that happily ever after because that was something we was force fed to us since practically birth, since birth, right? And I think that right there is the biggest piece of what's our why. What our desires are is the nice person, right? We want the nice person, right? The nice guy, the nice girl,
True.
whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, when the nice person does come in our life, right, we overlook it. We
Why
overlook
do
it
we
real.
do that?
It's just because you look at like you got the fake nice guys, right? The one that puts it up like all for show,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You got the really nice guys, like the true ones. You
Mhm.
got the frat guys, right? And
Those
then you
guys
got
never change.
the frat
Like
guy. Well, see, buddy, I'm in a frat, so I don't know what you mean by that, but I could be a
from
little
my
bit
experience, I've never
okay.
met a frat guy besides you that has
Mhm.
changed drastically. I've always met a frat guy and always saw them never changing, always at parties and just chugging down a beer. It's like, bro, there's much more to life than that. Like, come on
Yeah,
now.
and then you got the guy who got the money. So when like we break it down freshman year of college, that's where it applies, or even high school, but I'm gonna go freshman, right? Freshman
Yeah,
year of
I
college.
feel like high school doesn't count just because
Nah.
we're kids, like pre-pubescent teens at that point. We're not
Yeah.
even adults.
So
I don't count high school.
yeah. So freshman year, we go, all right, we're in college, right? It's like you either living on campus or you live in like off campus housing, whatever the case may be. But
Yep.
in your mind, you're like, damn, I just want to up the body count kind of situation, right? So we're not even looking for a relationship then.
That's
Like
true.
and I'm not even. It's from what you could see every freshman, right? There's also freshmen, right? Like you and me, that we didn't care about none of that. We wanted like, man, I just want a companion. I just want someone like a day one kind of thing, right?
That's it.
Right.
That's all I want.
So
But
the thing is,
somebody done shattered me.
so as a freshman, we're looking for not even a girl with money, none of that.
No, no.
We just looking for a girl that meets our definition of fine. And ladies are meaning like they're wanting their definition of fine men, right?
Exactly.
And the problem is we always pick a person that we know is negative towards us in the hopes of we can change them.
Why is that?
Right? The hope of we can change is the biggest thing. And as we progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
However long your relationship may be, you start to realize it's eating your mental. It's eating
Oh
it's
yes.
eating away at you. And then when it's by the time you're like, all right, I'm fed up, I'm done, I don't want it. All right. So
And
now,
the toxicity comes out.
yeah. So now you're mad. Now
Mm-hmm.
you turn from that nice guy that you once were to now the dude that doesn't give a flying shit. Right?
No.
Right? And same thing applies for females. Right? They get hurt and then they're like, no. Fuck it. I don't like men, like you said, all that. Now it comes down to we start back from ground one.
Yep.
Everyone's trying to do a pity thing. Try in hopes again. They're doing this all in hopes that hoping the person they were with would realize the fault in their ways and come back. But by then it's too late. And
Very late.
it stems down after you go through all that hurt, it comes back down to like, damn, the person who was nice to me the whole damn time, the person that was actually caring about me the whole damn time, I overlooked them. I overlooked her. And now he or she is living their happiest life. Right? And I'm not
Yep.
hurt. And
Yep.
I'm not hurt. And like it goes back down to everything about like it's no longer even the why factor. It's not a why factor why we want it. It's not a factor of why did we let ourselves fall victim to this.
Bro.
I think and I'm saying this like out of my own experience as well, right? There's like when I came to Florida, there's this really nice person, all that other stuff. But I didn't pay much mind to it, mostly because I'm an idiot and I didn't like read the signals the right way. So
Also, let me pause you for a second. Guys, any guy out there, if you admit that you're dumb, you're the smartest guy out there. It's straight facts. If you admit you're a dumbass when you're talking to women, you're the smartest guy out there. And if you don't admit that you're a dumb piece of shit, then you're a dumb piece of shit. Let's be honest now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also comes with age, man. We're also looking at
really
this
does.
age. It really does come with age, right? When you're 20, 19, 20, you're not really thinking much. You're 21,
No.
you're everyone when they're 21, whether they're in a frat or not, their inner frat person come out. There was one girl always, I remember, she graduated now, so she's living her best life. But
hey,
that always like hit me up and check on me. Kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
So she's like, how's everything going? Da 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 da. I'm like, it's going good, it's going good. But I left it at that. I didn't think, right, like, why is she doing that? I just thought she was just being a good friend. I let it go. Finally dawned on me a year and a half later, right? And that is when I was like, yo, what? But by then it's too late.
Raul.
All right, so that's the thing. And it's like, I also want to make this clear too. Ladies, when you think guys are curving you, 90% of the
They
time,
don't know.
they don't know they're curving you. They really don't. Cause like just this past week, man. I mean, there's this girl that I was talking to, and I really like this girl, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna hold you. So she hit me up after like, so we were talking before COVID, and then we stopped talking and everything, right? Last fall, just because we had a little falling out. And so I ran into her one day in class. Now all my classes are in person. So I was leaving my class. She's
Oh,
coming to
nice.
class. So I ran into her. I was like, oh shit. So like I hit her up later. I'm like, yo, it was great meeting you. Da 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 da. And she hits me up back saying, oh, if you want to study together, we can. We don't have any of the same classes. I'm like,
What the?
so all right. My dumbass didn't equate that into the fact that like, why would someone ask me to study with them when we don't have the same classes, right?
Oh,
You know what I said? Bet.
no.
I said, bet that, right? And then I asked her, I'm like, oh, so when are you graduating? I changed the subject, bro.
You.
And then like later, my roommate was talking to me too. He's like, bro, let's see what you were doing. So I showed him. The man is a psychology major, right? He's getting his master's in clinical psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Looks me dead in the face. He's like, bro, you're the biggest idiot I've seen. I'm like, why? He's like, you curved her. I'm like, no, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, you did. Because bro,
Curved her, man.
bro, he's like, look at what you did. I look, I'm like, bro, what the hell? And so I was like, all right, whatever the case may be, that happened. So now it's just like recuperating, like I'm regrouping my stuff. But that's all I'm trying to say, ladies, and gentlemen. When someone's curving you, don't think it is, especially for guys. Don't think they're curving you on purpose. As 9 out of 10, it's just simply
They don't know
they don't know, or they're too nervous. For most
to
guys,
do
they're
anything.
to not even do anything, to know how to respond.
That's true, because especially when you're responding to the one that you actually want to pursue, I find myself just being like flooded with adrenaline of like, shit, what do I say to either impress or to stimulate enough to be like, oh, this is something I've never seen before. Like for me, I overthink. The biggest problem I have is I overthink, and just whenever I'm responding to a girl, I'll either overthink it and wait too long and think and then the conversation just dies slowly. And that's the thing with a lot of guys. It's just like, calm down, chill out.
Yeah.
Just a person. That's all it is. It's just another person you're talking to. That's all it is. And it's funny how all these guys put so much pressure, they put this person on a pedestal and just go, this is the person I want to get with. It's like, all right, but what's the end goal? What you get the girl. What then? What after that?
Yeah, like it's so we already covered the why, right? The why is basic human need. Now we covered like, all right, so we got the why, now we got the how we did it, right? Now it's the question like, now what?
Yeah, what now?
We never think that far in advance. Like
no.
we never think we fantasize, but we don't fantasize what like the what now kind of thing. We fantasize like, oh damn, yeah, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. I'm gonna have this, this, and this. But then like you get there, it's just like, all right, bro, this ain't going the way I was thinking it.
Exactly, and most of the time, those relationships crumble because either A, they didn't know what they were signing up for, or B, they just thought this was another plain girl. It's like all girls are different. All guys
are different. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. No one person is one and the same, right? I mean, like you guys can have the same similarities, but not one and the same. And I think the biggest thing is we don't put enough emphasis on the talking stage.
That's the most important stage ever.
Because that is where you can find out. So I know people who put the talking stage for 2 weeks, and they dated.
Oh, I give at least a month.
See, I'm getting to that point. They dated for a couple of months, but then halfway through, like this is like one of my good friends. She told me, she's like, I wish I would have done longer, talked to him longer, because then I would have known what he was like. Like he was a very like he wasn't really good for her kind of thing, right? Bad for her mental, and that kind of situation was just arising, and it was because she didn't put enough emphasis on the talking portion of it. And I
Yes,
think, like, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, the emphasis on the talking is the biggest part, because you need to know what you're getting yourself into. You need to know if someone's gonna be good for you or not. And like
exactly.
in the talking phase, when you guys figure out like, this it's not gonna work,
Hmm.
then it's okay. You ending it on good terms, right? Whereas you go into it head first, and then it starts eating you. The toxicity builds up, and
Yep.
then we repeat that little cycle that we got going.
So now I have to rechange the whole topic of this. Instead of why, it's before you get into a relationship, just do this, please. Just the talking phase is probably the most important phase, because that is where you learn about this person.
Yeah,
And I'm a firm believer in you have to be a friend first before you get anywhere else with them, especially in relationships. Because if you can tolerate them as a friend, it's possible. It could work.
yeah,
There's a possibility. There's a chance that it could work. But if you cannot tolerate them as a friend, most likely that's not going to work. And I hate how guys are all saying, guys and girls are saying, if you're friends, there's no way that's going to turn into anything else. Like, no, you just have to flip one switch and that's it. it.
yeah.
It's simple. It's
It
simple
is.
to
I
say.
mean, just think about it, right? Every kind of relationship that you can think of, you guys, everyone starts off as a friend or as an acquaintance and move away up to a
Exactly.
friend. It's more of like in the realization, right? When they say friend zone, they realize that person means to them more like a friend than anything else. And if something, it's the fear that if something happens later, and that is when you know it's calculated. When the
Hmm.
fear is like, bro, if I mess up or something like that, I can't afford to lose her as a friend as well, or I can't afford to lose him as a friend as well. That is the point, right? And that is like, you keep it like that, right? Like you talk it out and all that.
Hmm.
That's the calculated thing that everyone has to kind of have to go through, is
Hmm.
because like you start to realize like, oh, okay, this is like, man, me and this girl, she's more of a friend than anything. I can't risk to lose her as a friend too.
Exactly.
So
And at this point, all these guys are really just thinking about sex. At this point, just sex. That's it.
yeah,
Because
yeah, I think, man, you see, this is where like my age starts to come out, bro. It's like that's really ain't a priority, right?
no,
That, but like the younger you are, yeah, that's a priority. That's a big priority. I
yes and no.
like from what I've seen, then yeah, a lot of it's like a thing, like a lot of people, a lot of guys especially, they like to kiss and tell, and you know what that is, right? Like they brag, they brag.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like a kiss and like, never mind, Eddie. You'll grow up soon.
god damn it! I thought you said kiss and toe.
Oh, what?
I thought you
No,
said kiss and toe.
no.
So I was like, wait,
More than anything, it comes with maturity. I think,
it
personally.
really does. Even for the younger kids, I feel like there's like a few kids out there that are like that know their priorities, but I also worry for them mentally because it's very straining to have be at that kind of level, yet also still continue on with like all the other stresses in life. Don't go to the point where like I won't have a relationship until later on, because that's the other thing I want to talk about. The guys that don't get into a serious relationship until they're like in their 30s or like late 20s, because honestly in your early 20s that's where you're experimenting what works, what doesn't work. And especially for me, that's where I really just went all out. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I wasn't really picky with all the stuff that I've done. If it came, it came. I didn't really care. Like, especially at parties, if it happened, it happened. I won't say nothing about it, and just eh. And that's the one thing that I want to try and break,
Mhm.
because after doing it for a while, it's like this is kind of disgusting. And I remember talking about this in the first podcast. Just if you yourself can't bring yourself to tell someone that you can't do this, why did you put yourself in that situation?
Yeah.
Because it's all about choice. Like, I keep saying this, it's all about choice. The choices you make in life will come back at you one way or another, good or bad. It doesn't matter. All the choices you make in your relationships, in your companionships, in your financial, legal, whatever, school, whatever, all those choices build up and will provide you an answer. Something will come up, bad or good. It's just human nature. And it's just like, if you're putting in so much effort to get this girl, and I see this a lot on Instagram and like social media, if you're not getting the same output as you are putting in, that's nothing
Good will
more
come.
than you're
Yeah.
wasting your time.
See, now you bring up that point. It's like we speaking from experience here. And my experience happened. What month is this? September?
Yup.
9 months ago. Shit happened in January. So, all right. So, like, here's what happened, right? Me and this girl, like, we were talking. Everything hit off, right? I'm putting enough effort. I'm getting the same. Like, it was getting reciprocated back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? But one day, it stopped. Now, in my head, I'm like, I'm scratching. I'm thinking, I'm like, something ain't right here. So I hit her up. I'm just like, hey, everything good between us? She's like, yeah, everything's fine. Da 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 da. Cool. I get a call, or not really a call. I get a text from her, like after a week of no talking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, saying, hey, I'm going to be coming to Orlando or whatever. I want to see you though. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like,
All right.
no worries. And she's like, also, on this day, I'm gonna need a ride back. And mind you, from where I lived, she lived around 120 something miles away. So Florida's a very big state. So,
oh yeah.
So I'm like, I'm in my head, I'm hesitating, right? I'm like, shit. So I text my friend, like before I text her, I'm like, yo, bro, can you do me a solid? He's like, what's up? I'm like, you down to come with me down here so I could get some company on the way back? He's like, bro, road trips save less. Right? So I'm like, all right, bet. So I said, yeah. And then I haven't heard for like a week. Text me again. Right now I'm working. I used to work at like a gas station convenience store kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So I'm in the back. I'm like cleaning the smoothie machine out. So I get my text. I send my watch. So I pull out my phone. I'm like, let's see. So I like after a week of ghost, I look up. I'm like, said cancel. I'm not coming. I'm like, why? Right? I call. She's like, call me when you get off work. Cool. So I called her. She's like, can you talk on FaceTime? I'm like, now what? Yeah. Fuck it. She tells me that during those 2 weeks, bro, where she was acting awkward, she started talking to another guy. They started dating, and she was coming to see him and just using me. Now, mind you, in my head, I was like, ah, fuck. And then she said, like, they ended it. Okay? Mind you, in my head, I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what the hell? So I'm feeling some type of way. But in my head, I'm like, all right, bro, still a chance. I was like,
no.
So I'm like, all right. So, we start talking again. But the same thing just kept popping up back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All up to one day, bro. I was at my friend's, one of my brother's birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he had a couple of people there. Like, or not a couple of people, there's a bunch of people there, but he had two of his friends, closest friends to him, and they both were like female. So one of them, like, they saw me, I was just sitting in the corner. I'm like kind of out of it. And like, she came up to me and she started talking and she was like, so da 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 da. I'm like, so we're just like talking that basically as friends.
Yep.
So she's like, something's bothering you. I'm like, why you say that? She's like, you've been pouring ice into the same cup and dumping it out and pouring more ice and dumping it out for the past 10 minutes while we were talking. And I'm like, ugh. I'm like, good call. Thank you. So she's like, all right, let me make your drink. Just talk to me what happened. So I told her everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, stop it. She's like, that person's just using you, like as a stepping stone. That's it. Stop it.
Yep.
All right. So I find out. So I get a ride back home, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink and drive. So like, I got one
Oh,
of my
hell no.
friends. So one of my friends, he doesn't drink. So he's like, bro, I got you home. No worries. I'm like, all right, bet. Thank you. Go home. It's like 4 a.m. now. I'm still like, I'm not drunk, but I'm not sober. I'm in between, watching Fresh Prince of Bel Air, bro. And I get a call 4 a.m. from her, FaceTime call. Answer. I'm like, yo, what happened? Starts crying on the phone, bro. I want to go back to my ex. I hung up the phone so fast, bro. I just went, there's like, da 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 da, tells me what she tells me, and then I just hung it up. Went back to watching my show. Next day, now, like, the next day, I'm pissed. I'm like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
why is it
Understandably, yeah.
like, yeah. So why is it that like I'm putting all this effort, I'm getting nothing in? I was hanging out with two of my closest friends, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and we were at Sam's Club.
Ooh.
I'm just buying like random shit for my apartment, and they're just like, tell her it's done. Tell her like you cannot talk to her because
Oh,
like
hell yeah.
it's messing your mental up. So all right, cool. I texted her that, and then I just get a barrage of fucking text, bro. I'm not answering. I told you I'm done because my point was you knew how I felt about you, but you tell me about other people instead. You don't do that. No one does that. Like I don't care how close you are with somebody. If someone tells you how they feel about you and you tell them to their face what you
About other
think about
people?
other people and you know it's going to get them feeling some type of way, then I think you're just the lowest of the low. At that point, you're just taking advantage of someone. So I was like, so I told
Oh,
him,
yeah.
I'm like, all right, we done. So whatever. It's also getting kind of weird too. So like after that, I kind of like took a step back, focused on myself and everything. I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? This was the best decision I could have done, and I'm grateful. Matter of fact, I'm thankful, but I'm also grateful towards her because she like helped
Mm-hmm.
me learn a new like a life lesson in a sense, right? And I can never like be mad at that, right? So I learned out like when you value yourself, the value that other people put on you also goes up with it, right? So if I value myself to be a king,
Yup.
other
And
people are
you
going to
are.
start. Thank you, you too,
Thank
right?
you.
Everyone's going to start seeing you as a king too, because now
Exactly.
you're treating yourself right, you're doing right, all that, right? So after that, I started doing things I never done before, bro. First thing I did, I went out, started playing basketball more. Right? I suck at basketball.
Hey, look at you.
Started playing football, loved it. I started playing like I took a stop like for college, bro, but got back in football again and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, after I got on the phone, called my job. Like my job was not giving me nothing. Called him like, I quit. I'm done. And
King shit right here.
like I called on the Sunday. I'm not coming into work, right? Because I be calling out every time because they only give me 4 hour schedules.
Oh, that's
I
hard.
can't make nothing in 4 hours. I call him
No.
like I'm done. I can't. I started working at like an optometrist practice, right? Getting my
Oh
healthcare
shit,
hours,
look at you.
so getting my healthcare hours up and all that. So I'm like, that job wasn't giving me nothing, no life experience, no nothing.
No.
The other job is giving me life experience, giving me like. So I started doing that, and that is where everything started changing. Then now, like other people are noticing, right? They're noticing like, oh shit, look at Raul. He's doing something different. He's not always sad, not always mad, not always angry, all that. And from there, it just goes up like that. And I think that like now coming to the point is like people need to understand the energy you give out has to be reciprocated. And if it's not reciprocated, drop it, focus on yourself, see what you need to change. The first time I've gone through something like this, I didn't learn my lesson. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't learn my lesson. I thought, I'm like, man, that's just her fault. Like, what was wrong with me? Nothing. Second time I learned my lesson, I'm like, all right, something needs to be changed. Like, I started looking at the way I was living, all that other stuff. Bro,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're living away from your parents' house, you don't get that home cooked meal, all
Oh
that, and you
no.
get mad lazy too when you're cooking.
Yeah,
I used to eat out with my boys every day. So
bro.
I put my money down, right? Now I'm like, I saw that was an issue. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I took a step back. Like after I finished like what I needed to be done, I packed my stuff up, loaded in my car, drove back home. I'm like, I need to go back, connect with my root, figure the shit out up here.
Yup.
In doing so, I started going to the gym, started losing weight,
Hey.
putting in work, like grinding to make sure I'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
I come back to campus, people are shocked. They're like, bro, you're not the same Raul that left. You were, because back then you were always angry, always mad. And it's just more like, I changed it because now I know I learned my lesson last time. I know
Mm-hmm.
never to let anyone in
Yup.
unless like they're reciprocating that same thing.
Oh, definitely.
So we like you're talking about relationship. I think it's more of like people want a relationship because it helps them mentally. It's not even a want anymore, it's a need for people
Mm-hmm.
because people want someone to talk to.
Yup.
And that is what it comes down to. When you find someone that you could tell everything to, that means you trust them wholeheartedly. And then
Exactly.
when they betray that trust, it's then the question you ask is why.
Why
And
did I
that
trust
is
this person?
and it's not even why. Why did I put myself through all this? And they ask why, but they don't ask what went wrong or how did this happen or what led it up. Because
They always blame the person.
the signs were always there. That people need to stop blaming the person and start thanking them in the sense of like they taught you that lesson, right?
But you have to know that you fucked up
And that is where it
to
is.
in
Is
order
like
to get that.
because I think it's like people when people go through stuff, they put themselves down a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they don't think. And I think it puts you in a very vulnerable state. I think is when you get really vulnerable, you start
Mm-hmm.
replaying everything all over again. And when you keep replaying it, you start noticing something. You start noticing a pattern. From the jump to the end, there was a pattern that
Yup.
we were so blinded from like whatever we were thinking, our affections or whatever, that we weren't seeing that. And it was just like adding up. And once like all that adds up, boom, done. And that's the point I think people need to realize. It's like when you're vulnerable, don't give up because the
Mm-hmm.
answers it's always there. You're already done. The answer's there.
It's there. You just need to look at
You
it
just
a little deeper.
yeah. It's like
Have some time for yourself.
yeah, it's like all right, bro. Think about it. When we were in our Calc 2, Calc 3 days, bro,
Oh
right?
God.
With Shuba. You remember that one question that screwed everyone over, but then you, me, and Austin, and it was screwing you over. But then I was the first. Like I kept thinking, I kept messing up. But then I solved it out. Then Austin
Bro,
solved it out. That was the thing, right? Like if we could do it, then the same thing applies to mental too.
it really is.
You just
Like,
gotta assess. I think its biggest thing is like you have to assess the situation.
mm-hmm.
Right? Stop asking why me.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking why did I put myself through this. Stop asking how did this happen. Start asking what now. What can I do to improve? What did I do wrong that I have to make sure that I don't happen? And how can I better use this lesson to better myself?
Guys, listen to this man. He is
Like
spitting facts right now.
and I honestly feel like that's the biggest thing that we keep seeing. And by the way, if y'all keep wondering why I'm drinking different colored Gatorades, I just want to point it out. Both Gatorades have rum in here, so like
Oh,
I just been sipping and talking, bro.
for the younger viewers out there, drink responsibly.
Yeah, and for the younger viewers, don't drink. It's bad for you.
Very bad. It fucks you up very
Yeah,
badly.
yeah. And those who
And
were
like after going through all that, I feel like the hardest thing for anyone, any person, is just even after going through all that, and you have an opportunity for another relationship after that, I feel like the hardest thing for anyone to do is just saying no to it.
Yeah,
Walking
it's
away from it, or walking away from something that you've built up to, or anything like that. Because thinking about it, it's human nature to want companionship, and to walk away from it is just denying that. And also, it's something that just hits home, like,
mhm.
because everyone wants it, everyone wants to have it. But if you know that you're not in the position to go for this, or you know that you're not mentally stable to actually pursue this, nurture this, and actually take care of this relationship, because it's not just a person
No,
that
it
you're
really
dealing with.
it
It's not.
really isn't. It really isn't. Like if you yourself is not in a mental state and to be able to not even nurture but to take care of the other person as well, don't put them through that because
No,
now you're potentially ruining someone else, and
exactly.
that's the guilt that you got to live with forever. Like knowing that you messed up, knowing you put someone through something, and that is the biggest thing that you have to understand. And I think yeah, the human need is for companionship, but I think is when you start to like when you start assessing everything and thinking you're like, all right, I need to take a step back because right
Yep.
now I'm like, it's not even with the girls, bro, or guys or whatever. It's with friends too. Like I had to step away from friends. I put my all my group chats, everything on mute. Like I didn't talk to nobody for since March. Since March, I didn't talk to nobody till August. Till August. Like
What?
I was back in Seattle in June or July. I was back in Seattle in July. From July, like I was there for 21 days.
Why didn't you tell me?
That's how I'm getting to, right? I needed I knew I needed to connect back to my roots. I was with my family.
Oh,
I was with my family and like I met with my brothers, all that. So like to help me get out of the like a certain funk, to see the better things in life. And I think
gotcha.
that is the biggest thing too, because when you're hanging out with friends and everything, and you yourself is not in a good position, you kind of send that energy. I believe in like transference of energy, right?
Hmm.
Sounds kind of weird, but like I do
It's
believe
out
that
there though.
if I'm in a bad position or if I'm mad or sad, and like I keep talking to people, right? So other people other people can get that same thing too. They
Yep,
start feeling that. They start seeing sad. It just dampens the mood, right?
it does.
So I feel like when you need to decide to step back, let people know you're stepping back. That's the big one because
Hmm.
I didn't make that. I made that mistake, and people really like were worried. But like I told them, like I'm fine, I'm straight, don't worry. Like when you decide to step back and work on yourself, don't do it in spite of people.
Hmm.
Do it to better yourself. And that is where I think because you start to see the changes every day. Like
Hmm.
when you stop looking at it, when you stop looking at the glass is half empty and start looking at the glass is half full, you start noticing the different things in life.
Yup.
And I
Yup.
think that is the optimism, like the mental health, the mental well being is a big part of relationships and a big part of the why,
Yup.
right? Because you want to, in you wanting someone to be your companion, at the same time, you need to be willing to be a companion for someone else also. You need to be able to put up with their shit also. Because if you expect someone to put up with your shit and you don't want to put up with their shit, you're just a jackass, in my
It
opinion.
is.
Like,
It really
and
is.
and then in that case, you just want to go to a psychiatrist for free,
It's
and
a
that's
double-edged sword.
yeah,
Because if you want it, chances are the other person wants it.
because it all comes down to a compromise too. You put up with them, they put up with you. Not even I feel like putting up is the wrong word. It's
Like
you want to vent to them and they want to vent to you. You guys like kind of help each other out,
a
better each other.
symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. You will grow and manifest something really great. And that is, I think, the real reason of why is not only the companionship, it's just understanding and knowing that you want someone to be there for you and you are wanting to be there for someone else.
Yup. I love
And
how we started from why do you want this to uh freaking what if and just all that other stuff, because relationships are fucking confusing.
it's confusing,
Uh
complex, it's everything, bro. And I think that's the thing. It starts with one thing, but then it encompasses in a
Fucking
circle.
goes everywhere.
Yeah, and then
And that,
but it will tie back up somewhere.
mhm.
So, and I think
Goddamn.
it's especially now. I think like after COVID, and you're seeing like people losing their livelihood, losing their lives, and everything. I think now is a time where our like people from our grade, right? We're matured out. We understand now
Oh,
that
definitely.
we understand the thing of like life is never guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? Like so I now like when I got that, I now want to be there for everybody. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I fought some of my closest people. I yelled at them, I fought them, I pulled up to their house, all that. But that regret, all that kind of feeds in, and now I make it my mission. I never want to do that to anyone again. And like I let them know, like, hey, I messed up in the past. The past is the past. I'm gonna make it up to you now, right? And I promise you, to the day I'm gone, I'm not gonna let no one talk shit to you. Not even that. I'm gonna tell you everything. Because if I'm acting out and I don't tell you the reason I'm acting out, then you're not gonna respect it.
Mm-hmm.
Or respect me. I understand respect it. But then if I tell you the reason I'm acting out, then you understand like where I'm at. So it's one of those things, man. You just gotta be all up in the open. Gotta better yourself. Start asking the right questions. Stop asking the not so right questions. And
Ladies, this man is single. He's open. Go at it at his DMs. Blow him up. But yo, thank you for coming onto the show. I believe that's about all the time we have.
yes, sir.
But to wrap things up, what's the moral that you would say for all the listeners and the viewers out there?
The moral of everything, I think, is whatever you do, have the right intentions of doing it. Right? It's not only the relationship; it's even your career path and everything. Right? Don't go into a career just because you want the money. Go into it because you won't really want to do it. Don't go into a relationship just because you want whatever you want. Go into it because you really want it. You really feel for someone this way. You want to be there for someone. Going for that. Anything you do in life, have the right intentions of going at it. Trust me, it'll be successful. You will have rough patches here and there. Everything does. Nothing's ever like a smooth sail. But like you work together with people, trusted people on your rough patches, you'll go up.
It looks like that's all the time we have for
Yep.
today's podcast. Thank you guys for joining in with us. Thank you, Raul, for joining in on me.
Thank you, man.
Hey, thank you. If you want to support this channel, support it by giving it a like, thumbs up, and subscribing. If you're listening on the Spotify, iTunes, or anything else for the podcast, make sure to download it, share it with your friends, and rate it. I don't know how that works, but I'm going to find out today. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I see you guys in the next coming video. So have a good one, you guys.